The National Authority of the United Nations Development Program has adopted the Integrated National Financing Framework as a tool to improve SDGs financing without increasing public debt and contingent liabilities to levels that will be detrimental to economic sustainability.
He further noted that as part of its commitment to sustainable and inclusive development, his administration aligned its 2017 to 2020 Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, the 2020 Economic Sustainable Plan, ESP, and the 2021 National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy, NPRGS, with
Plan 2021 to 2025, that the federal government of Nigeria, with the support of the United Nations Development Program, has adopted the Integrated National Financing Framework as a tool to improve that will be detrimental to economic sustainability. The Integrated National Financing Framework financing strategy, the framework process, will hope to promote the strategic alignment of financial policies with sustainable development, and private financial actors will continue to departments and agencies and developmental partners for a coordinated implementation of the
Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President together to develop.
Let me commend the Federal Ministry of
have committed to working towards. Realizing this vision will require mobilization of a diverse range of public and private resourcing processes and overcome existing impediments to financing sustainable development at the national level. It helps governments and their partners to build public and private investment and longer-term sustainable development objectives and build greater coherence, was echoed by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ms. Zainab Ahmed.
Nigeria decided to adopt the IMF as a tool to improve SDG financing without increasing public debt and contingent liabilities to levels that are detrimental to economic sustainability. This financing strategy is backed by a medium-term revenue strategy and a medium-term expenditure framework. It is further supported by a clear roadmap and monitoring framework and accountability.
In her welcome remarks, Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefulire, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, described the launch of the INFF report as a significant milestone in the commitment and efforts to achieve the SDGs in Nigeria. She noted that the INFF is in line with Nigeria's strategic approach to the implementation of the SDGs, working at the national and sub-national levels, departments, while also working closely with the 36 states, and the fact Nigeria was the first country in the global south to have successfully completed a country-led independent evaluation of SDG 3 on quality health and well-being for all, and SDG 4 on qualitative and inclusive education and lifelong learning for all. But on the 21st of December 2021, Nigeria became the first African country to successfully realign its national statistical system with the requirement and indicators of the SDGs. Hence, the country will now be able to track progress on the 230 key performance indicators of the agenda on annual basis through the National Bureau of Statistics. Orilokpe Adefulire further noted that in 2019, Nigeria successfully domesticated Integrated Sustainable Development Goals Simulation Model, ISTG model, as a homegrown analytical tool for evidence-based SDGs policymaking and planning, with the report launched on the margins of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly by the President.
I am proud to see that working with all the MDs at the national level, working with all the existing governments at the national level, UN and 774 local government to coordinate the SDG programs all across the country and report to the UN. We have successfully, in 2017, reported the voluntary national review of Nigeria, even though we are in recession, and the world under the UN acknowledged and praised the Nigerian government for that gesture. And again in 2020, we rendered the second voluntary national review. The framework on SDG was adopted, and all the action plan that was expected of Nigeria was done. As today, we are ahead of many countries, even though we are Nigeria and we are Africa. We have solved many firsts. And just last month, Nigeria became the fourth country in the global south to have won the evaluation report of SDG 3 and 4, which has never happened in the global south. We also launched earlier this year the National Bureau of Statistics worked together with us to launch the basic on how the tracking of SDG will be done within our country before we expect what comes in from the United Nations. And then we recorded the first. And again on IFF, we are recording the another first as a country. To integrate the sustainable development goals in their policy program and budget. And then we're working on, believe that before the end of administration, we'll be able to cover the 36 states and FCT, so that all of us will work in tandem with the aspiration of sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals is about people, it's about peace, it's about prosperity, it's about partnership and our planet. All this must be put into consideration, and I want to thank Mr. President and all the service chiefs, all the security agencies for working so hard to bring back peace to Nigeria. Without peace, nothing can be achieved.
She expressed appreciation and profound gratitude to the President for accepting to launch the report, as well as all the institutional members of the National Steering Committee and the Core Working Group on Nigeria's INFF for the commitment demonstrated during the design phase.
I thank you, Mr. President, for finding time to be here personally as we did in 2019 where we launched the ISDG model, the analytical tool that we used to develop our budget for 2017 to 2020, and it's what is the opening we are using for 2020 to 2025. We continue to work hard to make you proud, and we continue to make Nigeria proud.
The event, which was attended by the representatives from the United Nations, some Nigerian state governors, among others, attracted encomiums from guests and participants. The Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina J. Mohammed, and other guests at the launch lauded the initiative and encouraged proper implementation.
I'm glad to see my own country, its leadership, Nigeria, leading the way not only in Africa, but also at the global level. As the largest economy on the African continent, with an enormous untapped demographic dividend, Nigeria has so much to gain. The country's innovative and deep entrepreneurial spirit can be a driving force for a just energy transition, poverty reduction, and leveraging the Continental Free Trade Agreement. Making the most of this opportunity requires massive investments in people. It also requires unleashing the power of the private sector as an engine of growth, enabled by appropriate policy frameworks, efficient institutions, and effective regulatory mechanisms that allow business to flourish. In this regard, Nigeria's well-articulated INFF holds the key to reveal funding gaps, as well as the possibilities to increase finance flows for development from a wide range of sources. Tapping into the full range of financing would have a number of positive effects. This includes potentially raising Nigeria's tax-to-GDP ratio from the current low level of 6% to the African average of 16.6%. This would be a tremendous boost and could lift 100 million people out of poverty by 2030. Imagine also the growth potential if Nigeria could harness a greater share of private financing flows for development, including FDI.
It has a function, the Integrated National Fund, a framework for fiscal decentralization, noting that development often takes place at the local level. I highly commend the government of Nigeria, the private sector, and other of its policy that it's to achieve the SDGs. It will not.
The INFF was designed to help the Nigerian government with private sector. We are very pleased to be part of this journey and of this event today to celebrate the launch of Nigeria's INFF. Let me take this opportunity to praise Nigeria for the efforts undertaken towards the achievement of the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs, and for the key milestone that you have achieved. In September 2019, 16 countries committed to pioneer the development and implementation of INFFs, and Nigeria was among them. Now Nigeria INFF strategy and is offering a leading example for INFF progress towards a more systematic, holistic.
Nigeria committed to be a champion of INFF and officially kicked off the design process as an INFF pioneer country in 2020. To start the implementation process, Nigeria set up the INFF Steering Committee, chaired by the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and represented by the Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue of the Debt Management Office, Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, the UN Resident Coordinator, Youth Development Program, the Head of Development Fund for the World Bank, and the co-chair of the Private Sector Advisory Group. And that is how much we can take on the program this week. Remember, you can always watch this program on Agenda 2030 TV. You can also watch this program live on Facebook. Log on to www.facebook.com/freshNewsNG and www.facebook.com/Agenda2030.
Agenda 2030 as a successful framework for the Millennium Development Goals, the global community rolled out
computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment. Then NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world.
Decided that, you know what, somebody has to tell a story that is family oriented.
That's how to fight you.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Movie.
Was everyone he ever cared about.
See, when you say you don't excavate water.
This is the #1 program, Gallery.
Do you love to gist or gossip?
It's not it is extremely wrong. And we cannot take it.
Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Whip and Grill.
Welcome to the slant today, where we say it as it is and we get to enjoy ourselves talking about various things that are happening in our society.
One 6 packs. So your job still remains as the man.
NTA, you can't be Deutsch.
Is a mustard seed. Then nurture it, water it, grow it into that tree in your rainforest. Social issue in our society.
There are certain things you take that is good for you at the same time. That's a bad side.
Yeah. What is
What is up, everyone? My name is Ricky Smith, and I am the writer and producer
pervading across the country.
Empowerment and inclusion on the continent. This reveals some of the strategies the women are deploying.
For building opportunities and empowering the poor.
The online businesses are managed or run by women. Why can't we do that?
For 98% of program under social investment program has to
are undergoing analysis at the ongoing 22nd National Council on Women Affairs in programs. Good morning.
Have you ever wondered how gorgeous cakes are created? Well, some sugar artists in Nigeria add value to creativity as they make intentional efforts to remain relevant in the industry.
Our guest this week is Ganama Rosemary. She has been in the cake making business for decades as a surprise for one special couple. Follow us as she presents this unusual wedding cake. Very important, someone very unique, a resourceful woman as my guest today. She's one of the top big bakers here in Abuja. She's a woman who is used to making high cakes, tall cakes, you name it. She is Mrs. Rosemary Ganama. She is the CEO of Stitch and Bake. You're welcome to Baker's World.
Thank you very much.
The first time that you made a cake was as far back as 1984.
Wedding cake. Yeah.
Yes, a wedding cake. That was such a long time. Tell us a little bit of how you started, what made you so sure that, yes, this is what I want to be doing. I'm not going to be chasing government business. I'm not going to be chasing private companies. And then I'm going to become a professional baker.
Because Tosa is
when we say highly structured cake,
and you know how to arrange it
from the bakery to the event center.
Like we transported cake to virtually every state in the country. Problem, even with our rough roads, there is a way we package it in such a way that it will go safe. Like if I'm traveling on a smooth road and a very short distance, I can just drop it anyhow. But if it is going to the states, you want to identify when the couple are happy with what I present to them. It makes me very proud and makes me very happy as well.
The trend of a descending cake. It's glorious when you walk into an event and then you can't see the cake, and then all of a sudden you see the cake descending. What's the ideal behind this event? What about this trend?
It's a new trend that has come in, and I think it's a welcome development. So, and then it doesn't also occupy space down. Like some do not even have the cake table. It will just come down. Like some do not even have the cake table. It will just come, you cut it and the cake goes back.
So I hope this couple where you're making this wedding cake, I hope they get very surprised.
When I discussed it with his mom, the mom now said, if you are sure this thing will work, I will want it. But please don't tell them.
They are going to be very surprised.
Yes, very, very surprised. It's very shocking.
Tell us some of the, the motive.
Like even last year, Babangida's 80th birthday, I made his birthday cake. 2 years ago, I made Buhari's birthday cake. That was the cake he cut at that particular time.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
That was our conversation with the CEO of Stitch and Bake. I hope you've learned a lot from her experience. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
As adornments to add color, flair and elegance around us. In today's world of highly competitive creativity, the use and application of flowers has gone beyond solely embellishment of our gardens and the hallway in our homes. Professional bakers and pastry chefs make use of flowers, whether artificial or natural, to create beautiful floral work of art as cake decoration.
Before, bakers use icing sugar to make their flowers, but now because of the stress of going through making icing, most people prefer using artificial flower in decorating the other flower. At the end of the day, they can take it back.
And because of that, a lot of people resort to buying flowers that are meant for decorating maybe tables or venues during events, but they buy these flowers and use it on their cakes just to work.
Is more than just floral art detailed decoration, but requires good knowledge of food handling and food safety.
One of the dangers, it could be a source of contamination if the person working with it does not know the right way to use it. For you to use these artificial flowers, you may have to go to the extent of washing it, like maybe soaking it in little soapy warm water, then washing it finally in clean water. You leave it and allow it to dry. But how many people really do that?
There is no denying how bright and beautiful the addition of flour gives our cakes and pastry, but it is important to steer clear of any toxic or harmful variety to avoid food contamination.
My name is Omolara Ikpen. You are watching Baker's World on NTA. Don't touch that dial.
We're going to make a sugar flowers that are made from edible materials. We need 3 egg whites. We also need our crispo, have our CMC, also which you also have to eat. And if you want the flour paste to be very white, we also use our edible vinegar. Now we are going to add our beaten egg to it. We have our icing sugar, which is the base. We add it, and we are now going to also add our CMC. 1 tablespoon of pesto, and that is what we prepare. So it's now to mix it up and then knead it well. There's need for us to add vinegar. We're going to need white flowers. We want them to be pure white. So pour it on the surface. to have a perfect liquid. So here we have our flour paste ready for use to make our flour. Everything here is evenly, so we leave it for like 24 hours before we can use it. But we already have something that we have made for that period of time, so we are going to show you how to make this flour. So this is our flour paste that has rested for 24 hours and is now ready to use. It's very matured and very pliable as it is now. So on the wedding cake, we use two different types of flours. We use peony and Moses. So right now we're going to show you how to make the two different types of flours. We need something like this. This is our round ball that we made into a corn shape. So this is what we call florist wire. So we just fold it a little bit, put it in water, and then insert it at the middle of the corn. So this is going to be the foundation of our roses. We are going to build our roses on this corn. You need to make it to look exactly like the natural plant outside, so that it will be very difficult for people to differentiate between the live flour and what we are making. So we are cutting the same pad, one of the tools that is very necessary for making sugar flour, and then we put the flour in it, and then we have what we call the bowl tool. This is our bowl tool. We use it to soften the edges of the flour so that it will be very light and they just resemble the natural flour. We turn it upside down. What we use as our dough is also ordinary water. So we are now going to put water at the edge. We pick the first feather and we cover it. We cover it completely. For the first round, we are going to put 4 petals. That is the root. So now we are going to press this one in, because this one is just put this one, and we are going to use the mix. There are 3 different petal patterns here. We have the first one, the second one, and the third one. We can have even more than this if you want larger roses. But for the sake of what we are doing now, we are just going to use the 3. And so what we are going to do now is to use the second one. So now we are going to do the next set of petals, which is 5 petals, which we already cut down here. So just like we did the first process, we just soften the edge and then put the water at the back, not in front of it. So we just put the water through the edge of the flower. So one must open the blue and the other out. We take the top. So we are now going to dry. Okay, after you have created your flowers comfortably, we now put them in the dry place to dry. We have our dried paper. Still the same technique of 1 in, 1 out. And this is what we now have as our Indian flour, sugar flour. We are going to put more flowers on this cake, cover them completely with roses and peony there in the ceiling.
and the people will be sent down for them to cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. A round of applause for the descending king.
So it was like, what's going on here? But at the end of the day, it was
designing and crews and hours of work to get it done. Sometimes even night job to make it looking all elegant, and of course seeing a descending concept. And I think every couple and even bride would love to see such concept at their wedding. I'm afraid that's all we have for you today on Baker's World. Till we come your way next, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's Baker's World on NTA. I'm Funke Oyele. See you next week.
Hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International. Your window to the world.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the program from the National Assembly. I'm Lami Ali. The 2023 appropriation bill submitted to a joint session of the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari in the first week of October for consideration and approval has passed second reading in the Green Chamber. Now, today's episode of the program brings to you the debate on the bill before the second reading. One point that resonated in the course of the debate on the appropriation bill is the consistency in the last 7 years of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in budgetary releases and implementation.
6,557,611,797 naira only is debt service. 8,271,000,000 405 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 4,934,300,2021 standing the norm of the House Leader. All members recall that the bill was read the first time on Friday, 7th October 2022, and I invite the leader to move that the bill be read the second time. Leader, you are welcome.
I rise as directed to move for the second reading, Mr. Speaker, a bill for an act to authorize the issue of which 744,109,468,700 and sum of 6,557 billion for. Mr. Speaker, being the first day allotted for debate, I therefore move that this bill be read the second time. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move. I so second. Mr. Speaker, we are here today to commence making this singular act of Mr. President was not only a ritual. I think it is a constitutional duty and constitutional responsibility for this democratic institution to exercise our responsibility as representatives of the people. Mr. Speaker, by relevant provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my distinguished colleagues know that this House is not only the custodians of Nigerian laws, but it is a representation and an epitome of the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerian people. So members, today the House has decided through the leadership to allot this day being the first day for consideration of the 2023 appropriation itself was only a presentation of an estimate budget of what we proposed by the government to spend, and the rights and the authority to make it a bill, to make it a law, to make it actionable by the government resides in these hallowed chambers. So I would like members to take this very seriously. And while I'm doing that, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the attention of the honorable members to the fact that for quite long, through the 3 years we have come, we have manifested and exhibited all sense of nationalism, all sense of patriotism, and we have also decided to be a friendly regulator with the government of the day. This has succeeded in allowing the government to impact positively in so many areas of our lives and the lives of our people, and I hope members will keep this in mind and let us do it again. Mr. Speaker, according to Mr. President, this is a budget, he said, a budget of sustainability and transition. Of course, it's a budget of transition because Mr. President has laid before this chamber the last appropriation bill which he should lay in his tenure. So I want to believe we must look at those key areas, especially in the area of consolidation of the ongoing projects. Most of these projects, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, you can agree with me, are also legacy projects that we should all be proud of as an institution. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I would like to, through you, be able to perfect all of some very good jobs over time. In the area of tertiary education and in the area of supply of power, Mr. Speaker, you know there are a lot of challenges. Mr. President has allotted enough funds to be able to address some of these problems. The security problem that we have been facing, I believe my brother, the right honorable leader of the minority, will bear with me that in recent days, the government has shown enough concern and enough commitment to address our security problems. Some of the funding provided in this budget are meant to continue to consolidate to address these security problems that we are facing as a country. No government, of course, no Mr. President has allocated enough funds to address our security problems. The recent issue of ASU is one major thing that is of concern to the leadership of this House and is of concern to the entire membership of this House. Provisions have been made to address some of those commitments that we have made through the leadership of the House of Representatives, of course by Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, who has taken a very passionate zeal and concern to be able to resolve the ASU crisis. Nigerians are living witnesses. My members, you are part of the procedure. We have also provided funds to address this lingering issue of ASU crisis. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the issue of subsidy oil subsidy. You can also remember that through this ninth assembly, the House and the Senate, we have been able to pass a bill, an unprecedented bill that we are all proud of, the PIA, which is now an act of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is a baby child of this institution. So provisions have been made to address the issue of subsidy only for the period of 6 months. And thereafter, Nigeria will now go straight into a full-fledged subsidy-free regime, which of course is one of the major things why other countries in the globe are succeeding in the area of oil and gas. So these are some of the key factors I would like to bring to the fore and to your own attention, honorable members. And I hope while we continue considering this bill, considering these provisions as suggested by Mr. President, we will do justice to the bill and do justice to Nigerians.
The information being passed in terms of apprehension and comprehension of what we say. I want to beg our colleagues to please listen to our police in silence as contained in our House Standing Order. I want to beg for that understanding, and so that we will now do justice to the matter. And I would beg that we give us a maximum so that we allow members to contribute as much as possible. Maximum of 2 minutes for contribution in this debate. I want to beg for that understanding. Thank you very much. And Chief Whip, take note. We said 2 minutes, and we want to adhere to it strictly.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I think this budget is historical, because this is the last time this session of the Assembly will be compelled by duty and by law to do its job, and that is to pass the appropriation bill. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we want also to commend the President for bringing the budget, and he has also approached that is as good as it goes. He has brought it, it has become a document of the House. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it is quite important to state that the things the budget do not contain are very critical. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the oil benchmark today, or the benchmark we have is, as per the quota, is 169. Or what we have set out to do is less than 1.8 that we should be doing. And if this economy is hemorrhaging, it is hemorrhaging to the effect that we are not able to achieve what we are supposed to do. And you begin to question, who are the superintendents? Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I will suggest, and I will advise this parliament to be courageous and do its job. Thank you very much.
But the budget 469, but I think it's over ambitious, and reduce it to something that will be near perfection, maybe like 1.2, so that our economy will not be distorted. If we want to base it and base revenue based on 1.69, what if at the end of the day you cannot even meet up? It's put at 5.35 trillion. It was put at 6.31 trillion. I discovered that to start
inform members that by the grace of God, appropriation and then the other committees to work on it. So today is the first allocated day, allotted day, and final allotted day. The House will be adjourned, but rather I would beg that those who indicated and are willing to speak should at least be patient to state day to
bring up close enforcement of the performance management framework for government-owned enterprises and the way 50 trillion, by which is 70 trillion, redefine it so that it can create more because the government cannot find that infrastructure, or also the involvement of government in the PPP that will urgently explore for adequacy. 2 is on the issue of social investment, and 3
is on the issue of power and security, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of security, in the last 1 month, we have seen the effort of our security operatives in cements otherwise of governance. Mr. President promised to implement the Rosanya report, and that would have led to the reducement of the dealt with.
Throughout the period I've been here from 2007, that I can testify, they have funded budget 100%. No budget for capital. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, 50% of this amount released for the capital projects goes to the pocket of civil servants. Mr. Speaker, we are not looking at the project duplications. Last, from Gurore, Mayo Balwa, and Jeren. The next line, general repairs, Mayo Balwa, Jeren, and Zin. That's 200 million. Is Mr. Speaker, this issue of splitting billion or 4 billion, we have to look at this very serious. The NGOs, the anti-corruption agencies, they are not saying anything about these projects. And they will say, if you
have budget, you approve, you are. So let us reach the narration is good to also do that. Thank you, sir. Honorable Tayo.
So my thought and my concern, Mr. Speaker, is about year in, year out, heavily borrowed from outside to finance the budgets. That's just my own concern. We borrow heavily